Hello, happy Friday, right? For many of us, Friday is the last day of the week that we work. For others of us, not so much, but still happy Friday. And if, Saturday is your Friday, happy Saturday, happy early Saturday. I know that for some of you, it is already Saturday. I know in Australia, we have a lot of ladies in my group from Australia and from New Zealand. Let's give some love there. And quite a few of you are from India as well. So I want to welcome everybody from the UK to Europe to the Philippines. And we've got some down in the Caribbean as well and all across the United States and Canada. Welcome. And thanks for joining me. Today is Open Topic Friday. So today means that whatever comes up, we talk about it, right? So if you have a comment, don't be shy, put it in the chat and I will address it on air. As well, I've got two screens, so that's why I'm going to look over here. The ladies in my Rising Above Anxiety group, if you want to ask a question, go ahead and ask a question because the only thing that's going to show up in my chat, only thing that I'm going to see is your question. It won't tell me your name unless you go to the StreamYard app and tell it it's okay. And if you scroll down, you should be able to see, and it will tell you that, you can share your comments or your questions, but your name will not be released because it's a private group. So you cannot see the members in that group. So again, thanks for joining me on this Friday. And I meant to drink some water before I got started so that my breath doesn't, my voice doesn't crack. I typically don't see clients on Saturday, but sometimes on Fridays. But sometimes I'll talk with friends and whatnot, and the voice is kind of crackly, and I kind of hear it, but we'll make it through this just fine, right? So for those of you who don't know, I am writing a book. It's about my journey through discovering I had social anxiety and looking at the real world solutions that I found that helped me to overcome social anxiety. So it's not to say that I am anxiety free. I still have my moments, but I still have those tools and things that I use. And I decided to really chronicle my journey with it. Really started writing this book about, 8, 10, 11 years ago or so, but I have committed. I am halfway through. Actually over halfway through now. So pretty excited about that. And I'll tell everybody that I know because this is my accountability. I do have a coach I work with, but this is my accountability as well because I've told people I've got this book coming. So I must deliver. No pressure at all, right? Absolutely. So the live that I had this past Tuesday, it talked about really anxiety and bullying in the workplace and workplace anxiety. So I thought that, and again, thank you for joining everybody. And I do want to say those of you who catch me on the replay, as always, thank you for that. It is Open Topic Friday. So if you have a comment, if you have a suggestion, if you have a topic, you want to throw something out, we'll talk about it here live. Again, those of you in Rising Above Anxiety, you ladies, your name will not show unless you give permission through the StreamYard app for your name to show. But I will see just your question, and it will just say a member, someone from Facebook. I want to know who asked the question until I get into the group, right? So I wanted to kind of sort of start off with the workplace thing because there are so many people out of work right now. And on top of that, there are a lot of people. COVID-19 has done a lot of things. Just as this huge pandemic, but if you're talking about maintaining resilience and building resilience, and if you talk that, you're like me, you found in the midst of the pandemic, you found things that really help push you forward, to motivate you, to inspire you to get things done, whatever your thing is. For some people, if it's just getting up and getting dressed in the morning, that's your accomplishment for the day. Great. For others of us, if it's laying out your resilient vision, if it's finding goals to reach towards through this pandemic so that you don't become discouraged or overwhelmed or start to feel hopeless or helpless. So COVID-19, at least in the United States, it meant tons of layoff, like millions and millions of people laid off from jobs. And some people have been called back, and some people have been called back to, less hours than they want. But then there's another subset of people that through COVID-19, teleworking at the house, changing the whole dynamics with the family, when you eat, when you take care of the kids, or when you speak to your significant other, taking out your, if you had to, journey into work every day, it takes that commute out. It really does a lot of things. And for many people, COVID-19 helped them to realize that they really hate their jobs. Now, and this didn't happen before. They were okay with their jobs. Some people were happy with their jobs. But COVID-19, getting a new routine, and it really made a lot of people slow down and really start just being aware, living in the moment. And so there's a group of people that have a job, but they are now unhappy with the job. They don't really want to go back. They've been able to pull back from a lot of the anxiety that they didn't know the job was causing. Now they do. And so those people don't want to work where they work. Some of those people just really, I want to go back to work, but I don't want to go back to work in this place, or I don't want to go back to work in this situation, because they realize the stress that was caused. And for many people, you'll hear some people talk about, I don't want to go back to what I was like, oh yes, when COVID-19 is over, we can go back to the way we were. There are a lot of people that are like, yeah, no, I don't want to go back to the way I was. I was actually unhappy. I was actually miserable. I was actually stressed all the time. I was actually anxious. And COVID-19 has slowed me down enough to where my priorities have changed. There are people, whose marriages are now better. They don't have that stress of the commute. Drop the kids off. You get the kids. I got the kids. I'm working late. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Who's going to pick up the kid? All that stuff is gone. And so now they really have gotten in and they're enjoying their relationship with their significant other. And now, and granted, many people are not there. If you're trying to homeschool 4 kids and work a full-time job, teleworking, that's a whole entire issue. So we can talk about that one another day. I do want to acknowledge that not everybody is there, but there's this group of people that realize, I don't want to go back to this job. It has nothing to do with whether or not I'm going to get COVID-19. It has everything to do with this job is kind of no longer my thing. It's not where I want to be. Now, I've spoken to people that realized, I actually want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to go work for someone else anymore. I've had this in the back of my mind for some time now, being an entrepreneur. And, this pandemic slowed down enough that I've actually put some things in place where I've incorporated and I got started part-time. And now I just want to do my business full-time. So when we talk about careers, people are in all kinds of different boats. There are people who are unemployed. There are people who are happily employed. And there's a group that's like, I'm happy to have a job, but I really don't like my job anymore. And it is really causing some anxiety. It's causing a lot of anxiety. We talk about return to work anxiety. That truly in and of itself is causing a lot of anxiety because people want to go back, right? And so if you find that that is actually you, there are some steps you can take. Because, everybody doesn't have the option of just stop. Well, you know what? I'm going to quit because I don't like this job anymore. Because, you got to pay the mortgage or the rent, take care of the kids, buy groceries, pay car. Those things are kind of important, right? When we say make a living, that's what we do. Make a living to pay those things. And so really the answer is not just quitting work. For a lot of people, it's not. There are people out there that, have been blessed and they're fortunate enough to have their 6 to 8 months salary saved up. So anytime they want to walk and do something else, they can do that. But for a lot of people, that's not the reality that they live in. So what do you do? Number one, understand that there are still many, many companies out there hiring for jobs. I was looking at Northrop Grumman about a week and a half ago. I got an email and they were looking to hire 774 people. That's a lot of jobs, right? In relationship to the million or so people laid off, maybe not, but one company with 700 jobs available is a lot, and not all of them were in the United States. Granted, some were in Germany and different places, but that's a lot. And so if your mindset is it's COVID-19, nobody's hiring, I'm here to tell you, no, change that mindset. People are indeed hiring through COVID-19. And I do just realized I promised an email the other day. I do have another email where there are a lot of people hiring, and I'll have to get that one out to you as well. So number one, change your mindset that just because it's a pandemic, I can't get hired, I can't do another job. Actually, you can. You can. I'm not saying quit and leave, but you can start the process. Oftentimes, when I have my clients that come in and they're feeling stressed because they don't like the job anymore, they just don't want to be there, can't leave quite yet, and they still don't want to be there. One of the best ways that you can relieve anxiety is start the process of looking for a job. Pull that resume off, blow the dust off of it, get the cobwebs off of it, and go ahead and update your resume. What do you mean when you update your resume? Oftentimes what I find when I help people do their resumes, when they do something over and over at their job to where it's like second nature, they just do it automatically. They don't look at it as a skill. They just like, oh, that's just something I do every day. That's not important. That's important. It needs to make it to your resume. If you take it on special projects, completed special projects, if you were detailed out for an assignment or you were detailed to a group and your piece of it helped that project be successful, that all needs to go on your resume. And if you haven't looked at your resume in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, you have a lot of updating to do. That resume should really match all the skill sets that you do, and it should have the accomplishments that you've done. Because you've certainly in the last 1, 2, 10, 15, 20 years, you have accomplishments that if you don't update your resume all along, none of that is on your resume. And I guarantee you there's probably somebody out there looking for your skill sets. You just got to put it together. And what I find with my clients is just the process of updating a resume and realizing I can look for something else really helps that anxiety to lift off, and it kind of gives them a mindset shift to start getting them a little excited. Like, yeah, I forgot I did this. So I'll be honest with what I do is I have always made like a weekly list. I may not write on it every single day, but I make a weekly list of what my accomplishments are in a week. So that if I'm asked to come and speak for someone and want to know what I do, I can look at my accomplishments, update either my curriculum vitae, or update a resume fairly quickly, because I just look back at all the things that I do on a week-to-week basis. If you're not already doing that, I encourage you to do that. It does help you when you're looking for another job, because you literally can pull up all your weeks and you can go through like, oh, I forgot I did that project. I forgot how well that made. You can do that now, right? And then the other benefit from that is like kill two birds with one stone is you can get ready. You're always prepared for your evaluation, because if you're keeping track of what you do on a week-to-week basis, when it's time to do your evaluation, you don't just remember the last 1, 2, 3 months. You've actually got it documented, what you've done for the past year. And that really works well. I've been doing that for years, and that's just something that I share with my clients, especially the ones who are looking for, for another job, right? Now, some people are looking for another job because there is conflict between them and their supervisor. And some people I found, I've talked about this before, some people are just being managed out of a job. Let's just put it out there. I've gotten clients in that the job has been stressful. The anxiety was off the chain. They were having headaches constantly, couldn't sleep at night. If they did go to sleep, they were waking up in like fear and shaking, not quite sure why, just a lot of anxiety. Basically, their fight or flight mechanism was triggered and it just woke them up out of a sleep, and they were just full of nerves of anxiety. And so, I got them in and started going across and talking and said, and they explained to me how work was going and what they were doing, the whole situation. And I was like, you're being managed out. Yeah, you're being managed out of your job. When I look at the whole situation, because sometimes what happens is when you're in the situation, you see each occurrence separately. You don't see it as a big picture because you're going through the anxiety, and some days you're angry, some days you're frustrated, and some days you just feel helpless, right? So you're looking at each individual thing. But when you take it in its totality, you rise above and look down strategically, I found that people were being managed out of their jobs. And oftentimes, every time I say that, it never fails. Client is just stunned. The client is absolutely stunned, right? They'll sit there and they tell me, because, I get to know them and they tell me what's going on in the job and what they need help with. And then when I look at the whole picture, it's like, yeah, you're being managed out. That's what we call managing out, right? And so that is something that sometimes you just wish people would just be upfront and say, hey, we don't want you here no more. Jobs don't do that. For whatever reason or another, a lot of people don't do that. And so what they start doing is they start giving you difficult assignments. They start, if you're the person that when you got there, you agreed you wouldn't travel because you have a family or you're taking care of a sick relative or something like that. And so you don't travel because of that reason. And all of a sudden now you just have to travel. And every time you turn around, they're hitting you with travel. And like every detail that nobody wants to do, you're consistently getting those details, or getting those projects. Or, there's a huge meeting being called and you don't find out about the meeting until the meeting is over with, or maybe the next day or two. Those are all some of the warning signs that you may be, someone may be managing you out of a job, correct? And really that last one about having meetings, and you were always a part of the meetings and you had a say so in how, things went forward. And all of a sudden you can hear your supervisor on the phone talking to someone else. And when you ask what's going on, it's like, oh, well, it's nothing, don't worry about it. And you clearly know there's something going on, and you consistently are being pulled out of the important projects and giving things on the sideline. They've sidelined you, or they just give you little projects that really you're not going to have a good evaluation from it because the projects are so small as to be almost meaningless. Those are signs that you may, someone may be managing you out of a job. And those are the things to look for. In that process of being managed out, people their anxiety just skyrockets. It just skyrockets because something is going on. You may not be able to put your finger on it, but something has changed, and everybody says, oh, no, you're fine. Oh, no, you're fine. Sometimes it's very subtle, right? And then sometimes it's not. Sometimes people that are now rude with you, they're condescending with you, they're snappy and nasty with you, and like everybody's that way with you. And every day you go in, you can look for someone to be snappy. And these are things that were not happening before. Those are, again, signs that you may be in a position where someone is trying to manage you out of the job. And so you do have some choices, right? Then depending on where you are, whether you're a manager or you're, your administration, where they're trying to, you have a buyout if you do leave, but if you leave, just walk away, they don't have to pay you to buy out. You definitely have options. Now, if you're just a salaried employee or certainly an hourly employee, you still have options too if people are trying to manage you out. The first thing you have to do is understand you got to take care of you. You have to take care of you. No, most of us don't want to go and look for another job. I grant most of us don't. We don't want to, we don't mind looking for a job and getting the resume ready. We don't want to go in and interview, especially if you have anxiety. It's like, I already have anxiety. Now I got to go interview in front of people I don't know and try to impress people. Yeah, anxiety, panic attacks, et cetera, et cetera. But there's assistance available to help. And that is also what I do as a coach, is I bring people in and I coach them through the stages and through each of the phases, so that at the end, they have their self-esteem intact. They have that self-confidence intact. We've drilled on how to do interviews and how to present in the interview, or even how to do an online interview, since most interviews are online, how to do a phone interview, how to prep for those. There's just, there's a process that I take my clients through so that they're actually successful. Right. And I can tell you, just going through that process and understanding that you have options, that you have choices that you can exercise, really does help to decrease that anxiety. It takes it down a whole lot. It is that feeling that you're helpless or hopeless and you don't have a choice. That's what shoots your anxiety and frustration up. But you have a choice. You just have to find it and be aware of what your choice is, right? And so if you're joining, I see a couple of people still joining. Today is Open Topic Friday, and it's whatever topic comes up. If you got a topic you want me to address, drop it in a chat box and I will address it. What I was talking about for the past few minutes is when you're being signs and symptoms that you're being managed out of your job, and how I have had a few clients that come in and were being managed out of the job and didn't know it, because they take each thing that somebody does, each incident in the workplace, and they're looking at it separately. But when they came to me and sat down and we were going through building that rapport and learning the background so we can figure out, what the goal was for going to the future, I was able to say, hey, you're being managed out of your job. That's why you're getting this. That's why you're doing that. And people sometimes are subtle. Sometimes it's if you had the supervisor walk up and said, oh, by the way, here's a job and they're hiring and it's not in your company. If your supervisor doesn't normally do that, you might want to take a look at the job, right? And it could be a huge opportunity for you, in which case they're going to walk you through and help you and, connect you with people and do some networking and take care of you. But if they're just like handing you a job and say, yeah, I think this is a good match for you, you want to take a step back and look at what's going on. There's some of those symptoms I talked about where they're putting you on meaningless projects that you're not going to get a great evaluation out of, and it really doesn't mount to a hill of beans. Or if people are having meetings and now you're being dropped out of those meetings, those are some symptoms. Or if people are treating you like ugly, very rude, condescending, or nasty. Some people are as forward as that when they are managing you out, and some are more subtle. But certainly, if your boss starts to hand you jobs and they're outside of your company, you might be managed out. Now, however, if your supervisor is giving you jobs and they're in your company and it's a promotion, it's got more pay, it's got, you're moving from, employee to administration, that's a good thing. Take advantage of it, because if they're, introducing the job to you, then it may mean that they have some networks to help you get that job, right? So, but you do have options. And I want to say that if you feel that you're being managed out, don't panic, just calm down, take a few deep breaths. You do have choices. Pull that resume off, dust it out. If you got to do a curricula vitae, some people do that. Get that long laundry list of all your accomplishments that you've done over the last 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years. And in your space where you are now, be sure you're keeping track of what you do, and then start looking for jobs. Both corporate is hiring and the federal government is hiring. I don't know much about municipalities, counties, and whatnot, because COVID-19 has just really hit their bottom line with tax revenue being down and all that. But I know a lot of corporations are indeed hiring, and I will stick a job announcement. Stick a couple of things out there, and just for you to take a look at. I get these from themuse.com. I can't put that out there, but you can go and actually sign up, and they'll just send you a list of jobs of people, of companies, corporations who are hiring right now. And it's, didn't cost you anything to sign up for it, but it's just all types of corporations. So it could be from A to Z. The last one I got was a lot of like Walmart, Instacart, just all, and some companies I've never heard of that are hiring right now, by the tens and thousands. And then I've gotten some tech stuff that they're hiring. And so, but the muse.com will send you whatever is in there. And they have like the top 29, employers who are hiring right now, or the top 100 who are hiring right now. So if you join up and join their email list, they can send you the job so you can take a peruse. So if you know that you're unhappy with your job and you really don't want to go back to it, or you feel you're being managed out, there are opportunities. Yes, companies are hiring right now. I've known people to get really great jobs, high, $70,000, $80,000 and 6-figure jobs. So people are hiring. Don't think because it's COVID-19, they're not. They are still hiring, both here and overseas, right? So that, I think I'm looking around right now. I don't see any comments. I need to check Rising Above Anxiety to be sure that I don't have any comments over there because I know that your comments will show up or may show up in a different spot. But absolutely, now, if you feel that you've heard this and you really do feel like you're being managed out and your anxiety level is just starting to creep and it's kind of getting up to panic, don't panic. Give me a call. Just set up, or you can, email me. You can text message me. I drop my email here, and I also put my calendar out there. I do complimentary coaching sessions where actually can point you in the right direction, give you that clarity, and get you set up with a plan for the next steps that you need, so you don't have to panic. You still have options. Like I said, plenty of people hiring, many things that you can do. If you're one of those people who really, you've got that it should be an entrepreneur, I do coach. I do anxiety and career coaching, and I've coached several people who have made that leap to, incorporate their own company and start their own business because that's their dream. So many of you remember during the last economic downturn we had in 2008, many people, thousands and thousands of people started their own jobs, started their own business, right? And so because of the pandemic, it's not it's all over, I'm doomed, I got to keep this job and hold on to it no matter what. That's not true. You do have options. You just got to take advantage of the options, right? They are out there, but they first start with getting that resume ready, polishing off your interview skills, learning how to interview on camera, online, because you can't have your camera here and you're looking down here the whole interview, because you see what that looks like when I'm looking down. You can't see my face. You really have to learn where to look, work with your pictures and move your screen and whatnot, because I will, especially when I work with my clients, I move their picture around to be right near the camera so that actually I'm observing their face, but they still see me and I'm looking right at the camera. Those things are important, and you would think it's common sense, but if you're not interviewed, you're not used to doing it online, it just takes a little practice to get used to that. You can do that now. Those are things that you can do right now. Just something easy that you can do. It's just another accomplishment in the steps to reach your goal. Absolutely, you can. You can network right now. Look at your network. If you've not kept up in your field, whatever it is, be it SHRM for HR, or if you got a professional, PE, you got you're a professional engineer, whatever you are, business, bookkeeper, whatever it is, make sure you're joining groups on LinkedIn and on Facebook so you can network and get to know the movers and the shakers in your group. Because a lot of times companies are not necessarily advertising their jobs, but those jobs are getting put out by networking, right? It's not who you know, but who knows you and the networks that you make. You can do that right now. And again, it gives you the sense of accomplishment. You're not sitting by and feeling like it's helpless. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. There is something you can do. You can get yourself together right now for interviews, the resume, you can get it together, networking, you can get that stuff together. And if if you're at that point where you're ready to take that leap and become an entrepreneur, absolutely. There are groups out there, plenty of groups on Facebook, starting up a business, join them. There's a lot of stuff, even, if you want to be a bookkeeper, or if you want to be a coach, or, you want to be a designer, or make t-shirts, or, whatever it is you want to do, guaranteed there's probably a Facebook group for it. Probably groups on LinkedIn in that subject matter, in that subject matter as well. Join those groups, look around and see what everyone else is doing before you take that leap. See what's already done. You don't have to reinvent the wheel because you start entrepreneurship, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Look out and see who your competition is, study them, see what you like, find the gap. There may be 50 people doing what you want to do, but no one is doing it like you. And there may be a gap that you can actually pivot your business towards, right? It's just a matter of seeing what's out there and taking those steps so that you don't start to feel panic and feel helpless, especially if you don't like your job. All right, so that's what I kind of did this Open Topic Friday on today. Is really workplace and career things. Now, if you do feel like you've heard all of this and it's just you're starting to panic, or you've been wanting to leave your job for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years now, but you get so afraid, you just stay stuck. go ahead and send me an email. I've got my email out there, tawana@tawanacarter.com. Send me an email. We'll get you an appointment set up on my calendar, and we'll do a complimentary coaching consultation. And you, at the very least, you do walk away with the plan for your next steps that you need. Typically give you at least 3 steps, put them in order, and so you can figure out what your next steps are and where you need to go. So those are my motivational nuggets for you today on this Open Topic Friday. Thank you for watching. And for those of you again who catch the replay, thank you so much. If you found this helpful, go ahead and give me a like or a thumbs up. You can comment. If you know someone who can benefit from this, go ahead and share it with them. I will see you back here next week on Tuesday at 7:30. Right? Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.